Alright lads, so as discussed earlier, or yesterday, there was a formula for there's a rule for all these, right? So all the trigonometric functions are positive from 0 to 90. Only sine is positive from 90 to 180, and then only tan is positive from 180 to 270, and only cos is positive from 270 to 360. We call this quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's rules for each quadrant. Quadrant 2 is 180 minus your reference angle. Quadrant 3 is 180 plus your reference angle. And quadrant 4 is 360 minus your reference angle. And we're going to use all these notes here, and we're going to use these notes to answer the questions as they happen. Right? So let's do this. What angle between 0 and 360 has exactly the same value as each of the following angles? Well, 56 is in the all quadrant, so R would equal 56 because it's in all, which means it's positive. So this is a positive value. So therefore, it must be, the other answer must be in the second quadrant where sine is also positive. So it's going to be 180 minus 56, which is 124. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. 112. 112 is located in the second quadrant. So 180 minus R is 112. Your answer must be in the first quadrant, 0 to 90, because you need sine to be positive. So therefore the reference angle must be 68, which is 180 minus R. Now in the third question, which is in the third question, it's 300, and tan is negative in this quadrant, so this means this is a negative question, which means the other time tan is negative is in quadrant 2. So we're going to be using quadrant 2 and quadrant 4 rules. Now if it's in quadrant 4 and it's 300, this must mean your reference angle was 60 degrees. And 60 degrees, when you use 60 in quadrant 2, will get you 120. So 120 is the answer that matches 300. Now, if you aren't too sure about this, check your answers, alright? So put down sine 120 in your calculator. Sine 120 is root 3 over 2. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my fault. Oof. Just while we checked it, because sine 300 isn't the same thing. Sine 300 is minus root 3 over 2. I was wrong, we're not using quadrant 2. I got mixed up. We're actually using quadrant 3 because it's about sine. So sine is negative in the third and fourth quadrant. So it's going to be 180 plus R, which is 240. You can check your answers really quickly. Sine 300 is minus root 3 over 2, and sine 240 is also minus root 3 over 2. Happy days. Alright, let's try the next one, which is 195. 195 is located in quadrant 3. This means your R value must be 15. The other answer, because it's negative, because it's in quadrant 3, this means it's a negative. So the only other quadrant that sine is negative in is quadrant 4, which obeys these rules. So it's going to be 360 minus 15, which is 345. So what I'm basically claiming is that sine 195 is the same thing as sine 345, which it is. Okay, I think we get the gist of how to do this now, right? I'm going to drag this across my diagram, because this is the only thing we need to do every question. Alright, I will do 2 of these. I'll do part 2 and part 3. Now in part 2, sine is negative, and if sine is negative, what we're looking at is quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Okay, so here are the rules we're using. Now, We're going to ignore the fact that it's negative, and we're just going to sine inverse it. So sine inverse 0.6947, and we get 44 degrees. So B reference angle is 44 degrees. This means B is equal to 180 plus 44, which is 224, and 360 minus 44, which is 316. If you want to check your answer quite quickly, put sine 224 in your calculator, and you see that it's roughly the same answer as here. Or put sine 316 into your calculator. Once again, roughly the same answer as here. Alright, now we're going to go on for another one. We're going to go for tan is positive. Now if tan is positive, that only happens in two quadrants. It happens in quadrant 3, which is this one here. And it also happens in quadrant 1. So this means we can just tan inverse 0.932425, and if we tan inverse that, (42.999), 43 degrees. So 43 degrees is the first quadrant answer. But we also need the third quadrant answer, which is going to be 180 plus 43, which is 223 degrees. Once again, check your answer, bit of quality assurance. Tan 223, yep, and tan 43 as well. Same answer as what's on the board, right? So I've done 6, 8, I'm about to do 10 as well. Once again, paste it here. Now, yeah, I suppose we'll do it this way. Cos is positive. So if cos is positive, that means our two locations are A and C. And we're going to use quadrant 4 rules for C. So we're going to cos inverse 1 over root 2. You get 45 degrees. So 45 degrees is your first answer. And then we're going to use quadrant 4, which is 360 minus 45, which is 315 degrees. Now, because we know the value of theta is 45 degrees and 315 degrees, then all we need to do is find tan 45 and tan 315. Now, tan 45 I believe is 1, and tan 315 I believe is minus 1. Yeah, happy days. Let's move on. 12. So what I've done, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, same deal again. You're trying to find out what are the three quadrants you're looking at. So you're looking at sine, which is sine is negative. So because it's negative, it's going to be in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Now forget that it's negative and just sine inverse root 3 over 2. Root 3 over 2 is 60 degrees. And it has to be located in quadrants 3 and 4. So that's 60, and that's 60. That gives me my two answers of 240 and 300. If you aren't too sure about those answers, just put in sine 240 into your calculator, and you'll find that it's minus root 3 over 2, which is what we're looking for. Now you know your two answers for cos. It's cos 240 and cos 300. Now if I know my stuff, cos 300 is a half, and cos 240 is minus a half. We'll find out. Yep. Yep. Okay, let's move on. So 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14. Sine B is 3 over 5. Cos B is minus 4 over 5. Find the value of tan B without using a calculator if B is 0, less than or equal to Okay. Whew, interesting question, this one. So we want the place where cos is positive and tan cos is positive, and so if you have a triangle, okay, like so, all right, and that triangle can go anywhere. That triangle can be in any location. It could be in the third quadrant, it could be in the first quadrant, it could be in the second quadrant, it could be in the fourth quadrant. We don't know where this triangle is located, okay? But what we do know is it's within a certain range that sine has to be positive, but cos has to be negative. The only place I know where that occurs is quadrant 2. So we straight away know that this is a quadrant 2 triangle. And we straight away know that tan is going to be negative. Because we know tan is going to be negative because it's in quadrant 2. Alright? And this is without using the calculator. We're going to use the calculator in a second to check our answer though, so don't worry about that. Alright? So here's what I reckon we're looking at. We're looking at sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's 3 over 5. But unfortunately the adjacent is minus 4. So that means tan B is opposite over adjacent, which is 3 over minus 4, which is minus 3 over 4. And that's your answer. Okay? If you tan inverse that, we don't need to do actually anything with the calculator. That's just how you do that one. Just process of elimination. Alright, this one here. Right, once again, going to use our rules. Tan is positive, which means it's going to have to be in this quadrant here because it's disallowing 0 to 90, which is great. So tan, you can do it like this if you want. Tan A is opposite over adjacent, which is 1 over 2. Use Pythagoras' theorem, d squared equals 1 squared plus 2 squared, d equals root 5. Happy days. Now, only one problem. You'd be forgiven for saying that sine A is 1 over root 5. You'd be forgiven for saying that because 1 over root 5 is what you have. But you got to remember, in the third quadrant, sine is negative. So it's actually going to be minus 1 over root 5. Okay? Because you're in the third quadrant, sine is clearly negative. Okay? So that's the way that works. The triangle is actually, because you're in between 180 and 270. Just lob these into the calculator. That's all you gotta do. Sine 420, there's your answer. Cos 495, there's your answer. And then finally tan minus 120, there's your answer. So we did 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and 17. Done. I'll add more stuff tomorrow.